fact of the matter is, when you look at percentages of what we spent, what we've got, and Richard's expertise of coming up with these kind of solutions, and just my experience in construction, based on the peripheral, I've got about a 99% confidence level in this, the way this process works, especially when we talk about slurry walls and stuff, because this slurry is not a new term.
Oh, I think they've been doing it, yes.
They've been using
Oil
it.
companies been doing it forever.
Yeah, so it's proven technology. We know where the leaks come from. This is going to stop it, or at least mitigate it to the point where it's not negligible in measurements as it's going into the plant, I would hope. So that's my hope, just me personally.
So we do have $200,000 available towards this
Around,
project.
237, Sean, do you know off the top of your head?
Actually, I think that the amount of bond proceeds left is slightly in excess of $300,000, which would mean you're about $250,000 short. Now, council can direct the utility board and Russell and or myself to go to TIF to see about getting the rest. They could put the burden on the utility department. There's more than one option. I think that the redevelopment commission makes more sense. But to Jack's point, and I don't like to agree with Jack too often, but we do have a commitment to pay back a solar project. We have a commitment with NDOT to Walnut Street. We have commitments to SRF on sewage expansion, and we have commitments for parks and pools. We can't always just take it, we have to move forward mentality without there being some repercussions, which, could be laying off employees or massive increases in water or sewer rates. So I appreciate both sides of your argument, but there does come a time when you do have to look at the finances and where the end game might be. Again, this isn't a critical number thanks to the amount of money left over, and I think it's palatable. But there are some scenarios where we can't just say we've got to do it, period, because we can. That's my soapbox, I'm done.
And don't we have, we have funds set aside for Walnut Street?
We do not have funds set aside for Walnut. We set aside the city's portion of Buckeye Street, if you're thinking of it as one project, but NDOT broke it up, so we have our 20% plus for Buckeye Street, but we've not really begun to work on Walnut Street yet.
Well, that being said, I guess I will make the motion then, since we have that much money in the bonds yet to spend, to go ahead with the slurry wall with TIF's financial assistance.
Okay. Make sure I understand it, because
Okay.
we'll have, we face this on the 20th, with our meeting. So the excess amount, or the amount necessary to complete the project outside of what we already have bonded, you'd like for the redevelopment commission to consider that
On top of the bonding, yes.
on top of the remaining bond.
Right.
Okay. And the redevelopment commission's question, or my question would be then, is we continue the redevelopment commission is, you look at how much money that the redevelopment commission has spent towards this project, and the utilities, what their plans are for rates, and a lot of other things, we need to, you're gonna need to combine these things and understand what the business plan is, what the 5-10-year plan is down the road, to ensure that it's just not always fall back on TIF funds for consumer use. Now, quality of life, and this whole quarry thing is a whole different situation. I don't think that falls on utility. I really don't, because that's a project that came in based on a whole scenario of things when I was sitting on the city council, and even before that when I was on the utility board. So I think it's good expenditure for redevelopment, for the quality of life, to helping the city grow and to entice people to live here and customers, food companies and all this other thing. But we still gotta make sure that we don't fall in the trap that we're a subsidy for the utility company. When I say utility company, it is a company. Jared and I, if you were running that company, you would wanna look at it and say, how am I gonna, what's my future? What's my rates gonna look like? What's my gross margin gonna be? There's a whole lot of things, customer satisfaction, just a number of things that have to be considered. Now, Sean, I'm off my soapbox, okay?
We all get a turn.
Thank you, Pat. So I still have a motion on.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I understood that. I should have waited until you got a second.
Jack has a
I'll
motion.
wait for this guy. I don't-
I'll second Jack's motion.
Trent seconded.
All in favor? Motion,
I'm not gonna vote for 550 with no guarantee.
Well, it's
4-1.
There you go.
You did the same thing.
With that
you
being
did with
said,
Charles.
is there a 5-year plan or anything with the utility board? Where are you guys looking at for future projects, rates and stuff? Is there something you've got?
It's something we talk about all the time.
Okay, so we need that, and then maybe Sean, if sometime we need to maybe kind of look at what our obligations are, where we're at and stuff, and kind of, I know we're gonna be looking at budget soon, so we can have that kind of information.
Yep.
And kind of some information about what we're having and what we've got,
okay.
would be appreciated. Is that like what you were talking about, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Terry Thompson, there are some options. If you could attend the TIF meeting or have a USB member attend the TIF meeting next Monday, I would appreciate maybe some of your comments and we can kind of talk through this.
And it's at noon.
Yes, sir.
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
I'm actually getting a report ready from TIF board, on some of the things that we have accomplished in the last 3 years. I think we've done a lot of good things, and, you know, we do look forward, and it's things we talk about. What this guy said when we were here, we stay pretty much on top of it.
Well, the key to that is the history, and how did you get where you're at? You know, what brought about that, how did you get it funded, and all those things are all really good things to know moving forward. So how are you gonna do this over the next 5 to 10 years to continue that growth? That's all I'm asking for. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Go on, Bruce.
My local communications.
Okay, second reading of the stormwater ordinance 982.
I'll let Russell in or Mike take over from here.
Okay.
This is the second reading that you did the first reading 2 weeks ago. And they, Larry, you did a month ago.
I'll make the motion that we accept it, open this up for discussion.
982. Ordinance 982 is what it would be.
982.
That makes a motion to open, or accept the ordinance 982.
I will accept, I'll second it.
And Brian seconds that. All in favor?
Well,
Oh, discussion. Okay.
My other question would be the effective date. I mean, we submitted one just before this, so that's fine, but I don't know if somebody else out there has one. You might want to give enough lead time on an effective date, in case the developer has something that's coming in the next month or two. You understand? I mean, I hope what we worked on is submitted to you.
So what is the lead time, I guess?
That's all I'm asking. is the fact.
We can make the effective date. Whatever, you know, you guys want us to put a July date or even later, I mean. It's like you have that work.
I told you earlier, and you know this, Russell, but I feel like I'm not against the ordinance, but it's just so one-sided. And it's worrying me for people because it says that they can charge, you know, we can do whatever if there's a problem, and that worries me a little bit. And again, that's not anything, I know you're trying to do the job, but, I would have a hard time voting for it because it just, I've read that thing twice, believe it or not, everything you sent me.
wanna mow his ditch, so he fills his ditch in, so then it backs stormwater up to everybody. And that's kind of why it's in there the way it is, so we can cause those things to not happen. Because, you know, if you don't wanna mow your ditch, you fill it with dirt, but then you back water up on neighbors on both sides of it.
See, I agree with you, but the ordinance, it says, when it's written, and I know you didn't write it, but you can go on the
But I have a lot of
property.
input on it.
I know you did, but we go on the property and whatever the cost is, if the homeowner don't do it, we'll take care of it. Well, that could be anything.
And most of the, where we're gonna go in and do stuff would probably be, most likely to be inside the right of way. So a lot, you know, a lot of things the homeowners understand is that swale in front of their house is in the public right of way.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. Okay.
I mean, it's gonna be a little shocking because you're going to a document that size that we had a one-page document.
Yeah. It took a while to read it, I can't understand
You
it.
know, I mean, it was, when that stormwater ordinance is in effect now, that was just to get the stormwater utility off the ground. This was supposed to be updated long before I was superintendent. And, the reason it wasn't updated sooner is because we had more important things on the table, with the LTCP and those kind of things.
Well, we can always try it, if there's things that need tweaked or something later. Something.
You can amend it, you know, you
Yeah.
can amend the
Yeah.
ordinance.
I was fine with it, I don't, I'll try it, try to get needs, some needs behind it.
Call for question. All in favor? Motion carries four.
I'm not
Four,
for it.
four, against.
Are you
Four,
abstaining?
one. Four,
Are you abstaining?
No.
no, that's four, one.
And just for the record, or not into the ordinance, but I'm just against the way it's written up.
Okay.
Okay. Then we got, first reading of the amended park ordinance 878.
Larry brought council a draft ordinance a couple of weeks ago. This is the change suggestion, so tonight would be considered the first reading of amended ordinance 878, which in effect allows the council to waive by majority vote for events within a certain area of Trippin Park to make the consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages unlawful. If that looks good, as you had asked Larry to prepare it, then I'll put it on the agenda for our next meeting for second reading and potential adoption.
So move on.
Another thing I wondered, and I think it's already in writing before, but under B, it says it shall be unlawful for any person to possess or to be under the influence of an alcoholic beverage or controlled substance while operating or a passenger in a motor vehicle. I don't know, for being a person, it sounds like there ought to be something more. Or a passenger in operating or being a passenger in. Just a little verbiage there, just, I'm not sure. Well, operating or a passenger, I don't know, maybe it's fine, Larry, I don't know,
Or a passenger in a motor vehicle, you
operating or being, or.
actually taking the whole thing.
Yeah, that was part of the 2007 ordinance. I think it maybe could have been more clear, but it's not unclear. Does that make sense?
At that time, it was alcohol-free, so we didn't want anybody to bring alcohol in or be drunk when they showed up at the park. I mean, it was setting that standard of, when you're at the park, don't come there and cause problems for people intoxicated. But that wording was from, like Larry said, the older one.
Like we said, while operating a motor vehicle or being a passenger in a motor vehicle would kind of make more sense to me than what's
Just the
written.
way it's written, but,
Yeah.
I just remember that, why that was in there.
I mean, I understand the intent of it, but it's.
I think both of our judges down at Vernon have forced to interpret it the way we wanted it.
Okay. This is the way I read it, I think.
Yeah, it could be my English teacher might have had a better way of writing it.
Oh, Mrs. Carson.
All right, moving on. First reading of ordinance 983, High Street parking.
Larry, Chief, when do you want to speak to this? This was kind of as instructed by council, if I recall.
This came from the street commissioner. When we dug through all the ordinances, looking for anything on High Street, there was nothing about parking on the south side from North State Street all the way to Stockwell. There are 3 signs there that say no parking. So, we don't know where those came from, how those were authorized, but, so the signage has been there, most people do not park there, but the ordinance is not in place. And there is a small section, it's not a full block, from Stockwell to North Gum that does not have any signage at all. So, street commissioner wanted to see if we can get an ordinance in place to cover all of the south side of High Street from North State all the way to Stockwell, no parking on the south side. So that's all it is. Again, the signage is there, most people abide by it, but we can't find an ordinance for it. And there's that one section of street that doesn't have any sign. That's all it is. Clear?
Well, there's definitely not room for parking on both sides of that
Correct.
street, so
So they are parked on both sides now in that one particular block.
this is our first reading on
First
that.
reading.
He's up for the next.
We'll stick around for
All right, we'll move on to first H, which is the first reading of the ordinance 984, West Walnut Street speed limit.
Again, this was a direction of the safety board. Walnut Street is ours now, although it would have been considered US 50 before. So after consulting with Brad, safety board, several different speed zones were recommended to the council, and it's described in here as a first reading. But so if you went up there to the main intersection and went westbound, and all the way to North Street, 30 miles an hour, and we go to 35, so you get out to tennis courts area, which is 8 Pike, and then we go to 45 all the way out to the city limits. And right now, it goes to 55 before you're past Middle School Road. And there's other concerns that we have with increased traffic in the intersection and the things that are gonna be coming off Hutton Road with their housing additions that are going in. And even a place like Shea Dance that wasn't developed now has a huge following of little dancers, people coming and going out of there. So it was recommended we lower some of the speed limits throughout that. So right now, we're at all meetings goes to 45. So
Where's the city limits? In,
just past Middle School Road,
okay.
probably.
And then it's 55 from them there.
From that point on.
Right.
But that's
It's
the
not-
county controls that speed limit, right?
Right now, it's 55 right to tour rental.
Right.
So they're going 55 just in past Middle School Road.
Okay.
This first reading, but if there was any other recommendations, that's what we set back and thought would be a good compromise for that area.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Next.
And
Well, we'll see what.
moving on to the first reading of the ordinance 985, authorizing UTV and city streets.
My question on it, I think my mic is that, on the second page, it says, the vehicles must have a non-trail saddle and have a steering wheel for certain control. I think they should also have seatbelts, unless that's addressed somewhere else, I don't. But that would be the only thing.
that says they have to abide by all traffic laws. Does that include seatbelts in that, or would that not be included in that?
Well, not sure.
What's it say in the Title 14, Chapter 14? Do they require seatbelts out in the county?
You know, I don't know. I know they get pulled over.
Well, the way it's drafted is it just adopts everything that the state has approved in the county, is now approved in the city.
Okay.
So it'd be the same rules that you have in the county, you have in the city. The only issue is there's a conflict between statutes in connection with the driver's license. And I felt necessary to put in there that they should have a driver's license. It's not like, a kid delivering hay from one farm in Zenas to another farm in Zenas when they're driving in town, so I thought. And there's a statute that says you can't require a driver's license, but there's also the one that says you do. So they're in conflict, and the judge would have to decide that by the rules that they follow when they have statutes in conflict with one another.
So that would be the first reading, we can have that answer. I don't have it right.
So that would include if somebody had their license suspended, right?
You have to have a license. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, we were not talking about doing a fee to be in the city.
Actually, the statute says you can't charge a fee.
Really? Which statutes? 14?
Well, I don't have it memorized, but it's in 14.
I was
It's
gonna
in
say they charge
14.
us, they charge us for Brighton County
Well,
through the
The
B&B.
statute that enables you to allow these vehicles says that you can't charge a fee. And it was like 2 years ago. It's more recent than the old DNR statute.
All right, I looked up the code on that and read it, which is rather boring, but you're right, it didn't really say nothing about the seatbelts, that's what I was looking for, really. And, I've been back and forth on this, but I know we're not ready to vote tonight, but I think I'd be in favor, I would have to study it and looking at it and stuff, but, I know it's not the time to vote tonight.
Well, Scottsburg had like, I don't know, a 20-page statute that they paid somebody to rewrite the DNR statute. So I thought it'd be simpler.
Yes.
I thought the best way to do it would say, we allow it in the city, just don't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
That would be the best way to write it, but, and then,
And I think Salem just passed it also recently.
yeah, but I didn't wanna get into all the complexities of the
Right.
Scottsburg ordinance, just try to keep it simple, stupid thing, you know?
One thing Art said that I thought was cute was you can cross the highway at a 90-degree angle up here to 85 degrees.
Well, they have to have protractors, they'll have to.
So not too complicated, but a couple other things. You were reached out maybe chief by someone from the school system wondering if language to ban them from school property would be an idea.
When you registered to Scottsburg, Scott County Schools said no, that they didn't want them on any of their property. James County Schools has said the same thing. I have the emails to that language, but I said if they wanted a formal letter, I would ask the superintendent to prepare one, but yes, they wanted nothing on their school property.
But that wouldn't be in city ordinance, that'd have to be on them. I don't know how the city would put a statute in an ordinance for a school.
Yeah, you could,
This was my issue with them. They have lots of properties. I don't think it's fair or just when we can put a sentence in versus they have to buy a bunch of signage. So that was, and I think most anyone who's interested in this is gonna say, I need a copy of that ordinance. If they're legitimate to wanna know what the rules are, they're gonna want a copy and they'll see that and go, oh, well, yeah, I can't send my 16-year-old to school today at the high school. So that's what the idea is. They wanted to prevent, and it's only, it affects, I assume, all their properties, the county, you know, but that's just the ones in the city limits is all we.
So something to consider. Bob Ertl wanted me to maybe bring up, is it worth having language that would prohibit them from any of our new trails? Like, will somebody try to get one on Shipton Park, or is that maybe,
you're allowed to be on a public street.
that's it?
That doesn't give you the authority to.
So my last question then, when this says ordinance that the Restricted streets would be US Highway 50, there really is no such thing as US Highway 50 inside the city limits, right?
Correct.
Okay. Everything inside the city limits is Buckeye
In
Walnut.
theory, you'd be able to write, and the way it's written, and, you know, this, actually, I didn't know this was gonna be first reading, I thought I was kind of sending it out for people to look at it, to make recommendations. But, in theory, you could go from, you know, Danny Bertram's mom's house clear out to Johnny Greathouse's on Walnut Street.
So if you did want to consider maybe banning them between State Street and Stella Plaza, just to keep them off of this road, that's an option to add that language, or maybe that, again, maybe that makes it a jump.
My whole thing, the reason, and I didn't bring this up, I mean, it was brought up in front of council, and everybody knows I'm really for this, is those are state roads, north and south state. If we go in there and start stopping city roads, then it's gonna start opening up a whole different thing on, you know, everybody knows you're not allowed to be on the state road. And we say we don't want them in front of here, but I want them downtown. That's where I want them. I want them down in the old downtown. So to take away the street, they're gonna get down there. That's why I wanna see it. I mean, I attach pictures of Millhausen, of Scottsburg, and all these places where these side-by-sides are in public places, and, you know, I wanna see them down at these buildings.
That's the thing, if you're already cutting off the north-south access, from the State Road 7 and 3, and you start cutting it off going east and west, taking out Walnut and Buckeye, you guys could have isolated people on that side, and they're gonna be coming up through your really residential areas, trying to get across town, instead of taking an easiest path through town.
Just don't do anything stupid.
That's exactly right. And I think that it's really, first offense, $50, I think you need to up it for a second offense, and then basically if you do a third, you're restricted. Because if you gotta stop the stupid people right in the
That-
they're
that-
gonna wind up with
that-
a bunch.
Some of this language is framed in the same manner as the golf cart, ordinance that you passed 5 or 10 years ago. The Danny Pittman ordinance, yeah. It's up to you to decide what the fine is. If we have a general fines, up to $2,500, so it'd be discretionary to the judge or the clerk.
I guess I just don't see, most of these, you guys have set fees on automobiles, correct, speeding, I mean, I don't know what they're getting fined for. What would be grounds for a fine?
And I would have to go with Larry and ask him, but to me, if you are speeding, you're not only speeding, you're violating the ordinance, because you're supposed to be abiding by the ordinance, which says follow all the rules. So we could cite someone for the ordinance.
Right.
Remember, we have to hire Larry out to prosecute someone, or to represent us.
You can also give them speeding tickets.
That's what I'm saying, why don't we just give them a speeding ticket?
Yeah, right.
We could go either direction.
Well, it'd be a lot easier getting a speeding ticket than a $50 ordinance if they got a fight and the city has to back it up.
That's what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, if you were gonna we were gonna employ Larry to do these things, you wouldn't want it just $50, because you wouldn't even break it.
And if you do a speeding ticket, it's $186.
Guys,
Saying, I don't know why you'd be breaking an ordinance that you wouldn't be breaking a traffic law.
Oh, if you got on Highway 37 and went a block out.
Wouldn't that still be a
Didn't-
ticket, though, not an ordinance record? That's a state law, right?
Correct.
I mean, that's not an ordinance, that's a state law.
Would an ordinance count against your driving records?
No.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, I don't know what you would find an ordinance that you wouldn't have a traffic violation, it'd just be easier to give them a traffic ticket.
Yeah.
Which then the money goes to the county, whereas the ordinance violation money would go to the city.
I don't know what you consider an ordinance violation, then, like, hey, you're going 150, but it's $50 fine for that ordinance you broke. I mean, I guess I don't get it.
I think we're trying to make it too difficult.
I do.
Yeah, like Larry said.
Well, that's what I'm saying, then fine, I don't know what the
Right.
fine would be, so.
Most of the, 9/10 of these people are probably adults, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
So they're gonna use.
Just don't be stupid.
Right.
They ain't stopped
Okay.
before.
Moving on, and unfinished business.
So if anybody wants to make an amendment or something,
Yeah.
call me or,
Yeah.
you know.
We have, if we wanna make an amendment to this, we have to do it before the second reading.
No, you could actually move to amend this at the next hearing. It doesn't have any fiscal impact on the city, really. So, when it's presented at the next hearing, you could move to amend to eliminate the fines. Or to require a seatbelt, or those other things that, and then you would vote on the motion to amend and then go from there.
So you would have no power chief if they don't have a seatbelt on, is that what you're saying?
I have to look that up, I'm not entirely sure how, because if the statute says motor vehicle, you know, what's the definition there?
It is a motor
If it says
vehicle.
vehicle, if it's a, so I just want to double check all that, and I also want to make sure with the prosecutor how they're gonna address it.
Because that was in my thing, if you guys can't do anything with seatbelt, we'll find out what your seatbelt violation is.
It falls within the definition of vehicle under the, and then there's also a definition for an off-road recreational vehicle, but it's still a vehicle.
I'm sure you'd still have child restraint.
Yeah, it's designed to go up and down the road under the power of a motor.
See what our guests are.
We have guests in the back.
Or just here.
Okay. Appreciate you coming, sir.
My name is Sergeant Zach Rubel. I'm a new resident of Jennings County. I'm also a avid rider of my ranger. I just come here today to kind of hear what you guys are talking about. As a state police officer, under the motor vehicle, if the manufacturers have installed seatbelts that are required to be worn, if you adopt the DNR's reading of that, if they were manufactured with their seatbelts, they're required to have the seatbelt when they're operating.
So it falls under that DNR statute, which is the one that's cited in the ordinance. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for that, appreciate it.
Where do you live?
I just moved up onto 400 North, that's San
I live across the road from you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for that. All right.
Good Mayor,
Yes,
you got one? On Monday at noon out of the ETC, as of last year, the General Assembly required that redevelopment commissions invite all the different taxing units in for a meeting. At that, we'll talk about budgeting, we'll talk about all those things. But let me read you the official letter to whom it may concern. In 2018, the General Assembly passed House Enrolled Act 1242, requiring redevelopment commissions across the state of Indiana to annually present information to the governing bodies of all taxing units that have territory within an allocation area of the redevelopment commission. Your taxing unit, needless to say, your taxing unit, like the school system is, like the library is, your taxing unit has been identified as having territory within at least one of the allocation areas established by the City of North Vernon, Indiana, and the City of North Vernon Redevelopment Commission. The annual meeting to present information will take place Monday, May 20, at 12 o'clock noon at the North Vernon Education Training Center Executive Conference Room, unless we get so many that we have to spill over into Elsner's Hall. 1200 West O&M Avenue, North Vernon, Indiana. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Sean Gergen.
Is this the same time and place as the TIF meeting?
It is part of the TIF
It's
meeting.
part of the TIF meeting, okay.
As you know, we have an assigned person from the school board.
Yes.
This is to invite not only the school board, but all the other, like sewer and water conservation district. We don't think about it very often, but
Okay.
all those other entities that have taxing units that are contiguous with the TIF area.
But this is one of those things where only two of us can defend.
No,
That's what Larry's here for.
No, I believe, I mean, if you wish, we could advertise the meeting and serve notice that the city council was invited and may attend.
Okay, I'd like to do that just in case I can get away to do it. But you, okay.
Okay.
On that note, I thought we talked about that, all your notices would include that the city council, there may be a majority of city council present at your meetings.
We haven't done that officially, and if you want us to do it, I'll be glad to do it.
And it'd be easier just to, then they,
You already know.
because once in a while, I know you had to ask someone to leave, and it might be easier.
Poor Jack. He always gets.
Well, if.
Well, that's why I don't come, because I know a couple of the guys are there.
Yeah,
So-
but if you, I don't think you should be excluded myself. I mean, I just think it should be part of the notice.
We'll put that in the notice.
Okay, thank you. Chief?
Real quick, hopefully real. A couple weeks ago, we went to the school board, we had our, school resource officer agreement renewed for 3 years. There were no significant changes other than the dates were changed to allow for the next 3 years coming. So I'd like to go ahead and see if we could get that approved. The contract is exact same wording, but we might want more time to read over it. I don't think it's in the packets, because I just got them given to me right before everything went out, the signed copies from the school. So, again, it's only, the money's the same, the only thing different is the next 3 years. So it starts in January and goes for 3 years. Any questions, comments, if we get that approved, I got that signatures, but we usually approve the whole agreement.
Except for 3 years.
Yes, starting January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2022. So all the terms, conditions were the same, like we just changed just the dates on it. And I think we had to change a couple of the positions at the school board, that was it, so.
You want us to go make that motion?
Yeah,
Has anybody had a chance to read that? I mean, it's all right to make that. I'm going to make the motion to approve the 3-year contract with SRO officer with James County School Corporation.
Trent makes a motion,
I'll
Jack,
second, Jack.
Jack seconds it, all in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Is there been any talk about another, or just one still?
We have discussed it with them, but it hasn't really went anywhere, so, like I say, we have discussed it. I'll start just with Sean, yours, and Brian, the makers.
Thank you.
Second on that, thank you.
I'd just like to ask for a Board of Public Works meeting either Thursday or Friday this week. Your convenient time.
Sean set up.
Yeah, so
Jerry, Trent, which one, either one of those 2 days work?
Either, early.
I have to be early, but I have to check which day, because I got something going on, but I'm not sure what day it is.
just let us know, please, so I can let the others know.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay?
What would be on the agenda?
Buckeye Street update.
Okay. Bob? Chad? Okay.
When's our next meeting?
Oh, that's a good idea. I have already advertised the next meeting for Wednesday, what's the date, May 29th
Okay.
at 6 p.m. Since our regularly scheduled session falls on Memorial Day.
I'd like to make one quick shout out here to the James County Swim Club. They sent about 10, 15 kids down on a Friday night, to help plant the downtown planters. So I want to thank them personally for giving up their time on a Friday night to do that.
But if you do it,
Can I ask a question about the planters?
Yes,
Are you actually planting the planters or just put pots in the planters?
right now we're going to just put pots in the planters. They're going to be lowered at some point.
You're gonna be what?
They sit up too high right now, so we're gonna take out some of the rocks in the bottom of the planter to make it
You're not
more.
gonna plant in the planters?
No,
Not
we
yet?
didn't last year, the
I
year
know,
before,
I know you didn't, but why not?
because they don't drain well. They're designed, they have a design flaw in them where they don't drain. We've tried to drill holes in them, and we can't get a drill to drill holes in them for more drainage.
Buying it pots.
Okay, that's all. If we can have the most paid claims?
you guys,
I'll make the motion to pay the
paying claims and contact that, all in favor? Motion carries.
Janet, they got all the lights fixed at the park yet? No.
He sent an email last week that he might be there.
Maybe this week.
But with the rain,
That's good. I know it's been wet.
The swimming pool is gonna be open this July.
Anybody else on the board?
I know Tim's here. Tim, do you have maybe a little?
Just waiting on the Board of Works for you guys here Friday.
Okay.
Just wanted to see what you guys said.
Okay, we'll make a motion.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Condos adjourned.
I'll second.
Chris, second, all in favor? 5-0.